This is going to be different than pretty much all of my other videos. So if you want to see a time lapse of a road trip, go ahead and stick around. If not, I understand. You have a wonderful day and God bless. Holy cow, okay, you're still here. Welcome to Aaron Warren's DIY Garage. This video isn't going to be very educational. I won't be doing a ton of work on the car. There will be a little bit of work. Instead, come along on a trip with me driving 400 miles into northern Nevada from my house in Las Vegas. Then, I'm going to drive home. I'm not going to place any music over this. Pause the video right now and go find yourself some music and do one of two things. Mute my video and just watch the clouds roll by, or leave the audio and listen to why I do these videos. And I talk about the trip. And it's a great day. I don't know if you saw that. I didn't notice that. That was lopped off to the side. Okay, so what we're gonna do is I've got this wire that I walked a fence line to find. I should have brought some wire with me. Baling wire is always nice to have around. This is much thicker than baling wire, but it's also pretty soft. So we're gonna go ahead and set up try to prop up the exhaust. So we'll go ahead and do that now. Roadside repair is always great, right? Okay. So hopefully you can see this. I'm going to go ahead and attach wire from here up to here, around here maybe a couple of times. Hope that'll get me through to the next spot. And then at some point in time I'll have to re-weld or just redo this piece right here. It's been like this, like it's had this piece made for several years, so hopefully this will not take too long. Could have been worse. Okay, so I've trimmed up the wire. Probably trim a little bit more off, but I'm going to try to double loop it as best I can here. Okay, so we've got this spot right up here. We're going to loop it around. Ah, yes, the old classic GoPro overheats and dies. Sometime later. Well, fixed for now. Just put that right there. Now, get back on the road. Before we get back out on the road, let's go ahead and take a look around. I know there's not a lot out here, but the open skies, the mountains, the car, it's all beautiful, all wonderful. This trip's gonna be fun. Just gotta keep moving forward. The road awaits. Let's go. Alright, so we're back out on the road. Why do I do this video work on my ZN510? Well, I've owned about 10 or 15 cars over the years, and I get to the end of the little projects that I work on them, and I realize that I don't remember half the things I did. I can't remember what I did or why I made the decisions that I made. And I decided when I bought the 510 that I wouldn't do that. That I would video almost every single portion of owning it. This has allowed me to go back and find things that I did wrong months later that I wouldn't have remembered doing. It also helps me really go back and be excited about the car, and I get to help people from time to time. I know my videos aren't always the most educational, but I have found that I have been able to help many people out who are going along the same journey with their cars. So what do I think would be cool to do? I love Grassroots Motorsports, the magazine. I think writing reviews, tinkering, and just quietly working on my ideas to make them into reality are the things that I want to do with my life. And so while I do have a day job, and I do that, I think, quite well, this is a side passion for me that keeps me motivated and my mind engaged on learning and figuring out new things. You know, how I got into my cars was my dad. You know, he worked on cars out of necessity. It was a need for him with five now and then six kids growing up that he just had to work on his own cars. And Datsun 210s were cheap. And so he was able to buy 210s off the side of the road for next to nothing and drive them in the oil field and work on them. And they were super simple. And I grew up and had a lot of really good memories riding around in the back of Datsun 210s. Then I remember seeing my first Z at summer camp. I convinced my parents to let me get an eBay account, and I bought a 240Z. But you know what's funny is that one didn't work out. The seller messaged me and said, hey, by the way, it's got a lot more rust than I took pictures of. And so I ended up not buying that one. I found another one in Stillwater, Oklahoma, and I went and drove it. And I thought, okay, this is a great car. I'll go ahead and buy this car. It was dark blue. But you know what? I didn't buy that one because as I was driving through Stillwater, Oklahoma that day, I went ahead and spotted another one. And that's the one that you see in front of you today. It was awesome. It was a gold car sitting in a parking lot. And I saw it and I knocked on every single door in that small apartment complex until I found the roommate of the owner who owned it. And sorry to say your name on the internet, but Phil Rearat was the gentleman who I bought this car from all those years ago, and I've almost owned this car for 20 years. Every single time I drive it, I'm excited. It's been one of my favorite cars, and I don't think I'll ever sell it, though I do have many, many different plans for it. The reason I ended up buying this car over the one that I test drove, the blue one, is it had less rust. And I convinced Phil to sell me the car. He said it wasn't starting, and I jumped it across the starter after making sure the battery was charged enough and drove it home that day. It was a pretty good experience. All in all, it's been made a great story over the years, and I'm very happy that is the story of how I got this car. I ended up having a painter in my hometown paint the car who cut me such a great deal. And Mr. Tackett, thank you very much if you ever watch this video. I still love this paint. I still love the paint job. It shines up very well. You did a fantastic job now almost 20 years later. Past the paint job, I went ahead and found a turbocharged engine, and thanks to websites like Hybrid Z, I was able to swap in a turbocharged engine by myself. Now back to this trip. I went ahead and dubbed over my original words here. The views to my right are not bad, but the views in front of me are breathtaking. Snow-covered mountains on the horizon and a car that can travel right to the base of those mountains in less than several hours means that you can easily witness God's amazing handiwork inside this great country. In our lifetime, seriously, everyone, go on road trips. You can see so many amazing things. Once I stop for fuel and clean the windshield, sorry I didn't keep it cleaner the whole time, you can see another video right at the base of the mountain. That was less than 2 hours before we were just on the horizon. These gorgeous views are from outside of Hawthorne, Nevada. The gorgeous lake that's going to be up in front of me and off to my right is called Walker Lake. And is a practical lesson on how humans, even when not meaning to, can upset the balance of an ecosystem. While it was good for the agricultural economy it produced, it reduced the freshwater inflow to the lake, and the water levels dropped to levels that make it hard to support its native fish and wildlife populations. All of this, by the way, was taken from the Walker Basin website. So the pictures that I'm going to show you in a few seconds, I don't think do justice. The beauty of this whole entire area, the mountain, the sunsets, the lake, man, it's been such a great drive up to this point. And once again, I encourage you, get out, see the world. If I didn't already tell you, it's January, by the way, which is why you see a little bit of snow here and there, and it looks a little dreary. But look at that lake. So great. Focus! Focus! Okay, here's some pictures that I took. Also, word of warning, I am trying to do slightly artistic things with the pictures that I took, so if you don't like it, I don't know, maybe I should buy a Mac, and then I can make better videos, but here I am on my PC, Power Director, struggling through. There's plenty of people that do a much better job than me. I just want to produce these videos and hope that you enjoy them. Alright, so back to some discussions about the car. Once I swapped in the turbocharged engine, I went ahead and built out Mega Squirt and Spark for this car, and I've been running it ever since, although there has been some times that it hasn't run nearly as well as it has in the past. And so I built that actually in about 2006 is when I built Mega Squirt, and it's been running great. I have thought about times of upgrading, but it just hasn't really ever been the right time to do that. So, yep, here's some pictures of the car. From about 2006 to 2009, this car really sat dormant while I finished college, started a family, had a couple kids, and then I moved to Colorado. I also moved to California for a little bit during that time, and so, yeah, there's a lot going on. But it's been with me back in my garage since about 2010, actually, is when I actually brought it in. It was June of 2010. I started doing some suspension work, and I have been driving it ever since. Pretty regularly, actually. I haven't done a lot of upgrade work since that 2010 bring in, except for the suspension, which is actually getting a little tired now 10 years later. Got a little dark there, but check it out. First time this car is actually driven in snow for the better part of a decade. Even whenever I was in Colorado, I went ahead and didn't drive it in the snow because I wasn't a moron. However, when this is your car and it starts snowing and you have nowhere else to go, you have to drive the car. So now we're going home. I'll try to point out some things along the way. But that's about all I'm going to do for talking, and the travel home went much, much faster. Mainly because I didn't stop to take so many pictures, and I wanted to get home and see my wife and 3 wonderful children. that just about does it for this video. Thank you for watching, and I hope you like what you saw. If you made it all the way to the end of this video, wow, thank you so much. I hope you had a good, enjoyable time. I hope my labels helped a little bit, but at the same time, understand that if they didn't, and I'm still getting new to this video editing stuff. But this was a fantastic trip, and I had a great time. This car is always a joy to drive, and I'm always excited to drive it. Thank you for taking this journey with me, and have a wonderful day.